I know, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, you might need to.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to this evening's meeting of the Maidenhead Town Forum. My name is Councillor Gurch Singh. Today is Thursday, the 13th of November. This meeting is being held in person via Zoom and streamed live to the public on YouTube. I remind all attendees that participation in the meeting indicates consent to audio and video being streamed live, and acknowledgement that after the meeting, it will continue to be available in the public domain. We are not expecting a fire alarm sound this evening. However, if it does, please may I ask everybody to leave in an orderly fashion and rendezvous across the road outside the library next to the water fountain. Firstly, it'd be useful if all members and officers could introduce themselves so that the public are aware of who is in the meeting and the role that they are undertaking. Okay, so I'll just begin with myself, Councillor Gurch Singh. I'm going to be chairing the meeting, and I'll move to the left.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Helen Taylor, member of the panel and Vice Chair.
Robin Bunyan, Maidenhead Town Manager.
Nicola Bell from the Visit Windsor team, Place Marketing Officer.
Julia White, Visitor Manager.
Good evening, Doug Tremellon, Transport Policy Manager for the Borough.
Councillor George Shaw, Boyne Hill Ward.
Councillor Richard Coe, Maidenhead Riverside Ward, member of the Forum.
Good evening, I'm Councillor Adam Burmange, member for Boyne Hill as well.
Hello, good evening. I'm Councillor Jack Douglas. I'm here substituting for Councillor Martin.
Councillor Clive Baskerville, representing Pinckney's Green, a member of the panel.
Mikey Lloyd, Democratic Services Officer and Clerk to the Forum.
Thank you very much, everybody. I request that meeting participants do not speak unless I specifically invite you to do so. Once I've invited you to speak, before you do so, please indicate your name and capacity in which you are speaking if it's appropriate to do so. I will ask officers to speak at appropriate times. If any individual attempts to disrupt the meeting, I'm able to use my powers in the Constitution to adjourn the meeting and have the individual removed. Hopefully I don't have to do that today. I would also like to remind councillors that to improve our time and effectiveness in the committee, please limit repetition and points or questions which have already been raised. Where possible, please put forward new points or questions which we'd like to raise. We'll start with agenda items now. I hope everybody can hear me in the back there. Is it clear enough? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Following from, you can't hear us still, madam? Is that better? Is that better? Okay, if you still can't hear, just let me know at any point, and I've got hearing devices there. We can put them in. Following on from previous meetings, we did have some complaints that people couldn't hear us at the back. So we got our team in here, Mikey and the Democratic Services. We've got these new extended mics, so just to give a bit of better sound quality to everybody and everybody listening at home. Right, okay. First of all, are there any apologies for absence?
Yes, Chair, we have two apologies tonight. So we have apologies from Councillor Martin, who is being substituted by Councillor Douglas, and Councillor Del Campo, who is being substituted by Councillor Burmange.
Right, okay, that's okay, thank you. And do we have any declarations of interest? Yes, I think so. No.
So I probably should declare that I am the ward councillor for Oldfield. Item 8 on the agenda, the residents for the Loftings.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next one, item number 3, the minutes of the previous meeting. Can I take it that minutes are agreed? Agreed? Okay, thank you. I'll get them signed. And number 4, the actions. So what we've done now with all the actions, we've actually included them in the agenda so everybody can see them before the meeting. That action there is just to log that we've seen them and we agree. I don't know if anybody wants to raise any points in terms of the actions. No? Okay, great. Thank you. Let's move on. Okay, and we'll move on. This is one of the main items. Everybody's come here tonight. What have zoomed in? We've got town centre update from Robin Bunyan, who's our town centre manager. Robin, you have the floor. Thank you.
It's the big one. It's the one that everyone wants to hear. Right, let me, I'm going to share this, if I can remember how to. Oh, I have to share it from that. What? Yeah, one sec. Right, we're off. Is that gonna? Is it doing? I might have to just go through the slides like that because when I go full screen, Mikey, it doesn't particularly like it. So I'll that's better. We'll do that. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for coming. My name's Robin. I'm the town manager for Maidenhead, and I'm going to do a little bit of look at footfall over the last couple of months, but then look ahead because there's all the exciting stuff's coming up, as you all know. Right, so looking at the High Street, August and September, good months, really good months, expected as we kind of move through. We do always see a little lull in August. Well, August is normally good. September, we see a drop down. That's seasonal. We see it every year, as you can see by kind of the September charts there. That's solely because when all the kids go back, we go on holiday. I went on holiday myself. So seasonal shift there in footfall, but a static dwell time of August 52 minutes and September 50 minutes. So really good dwell time for that high street, being driven by the market, residents on the high street, people using the high street for their everyday items. Looking at our next zone, which is St Ives and Watermark, the area that we're in now, really interesting zone with lots of civic things in it. We know the library is well used, as is the resident services within the library. 118,000 and 114,000 visits in August and September, and a much higher dwell time. So you can see that August dwell time of 81 minutes, which is fantastic. But what I'm sure we can all assume what that 81 minutes was driven by was the fact that we had really good weather in August, and also the highlight of the town centre in that hot weather, Library Square fountains. We know that the dwell time of the Library Square fountains is high, and the fact that we're in a civic area where we have the amphitheatre, where people enjoy lunch, people are using the library, people are having the time of their life in the Library Square fountains, and that's definitely driving that dwell time. So we see that spike come up in the summer holidays, drop down again as summer back to school holiday time, but still this area is a really, really popular area of the town centre. And the businesses which are here, you will have just seen, hopefully, all the golf buffs in the town will have seen that the golf simulator, that's probably the wrong, it's professional. It's not like Top Golf, it's professional, is now open. So for those who can't get out on the green, now it's muddy, you can go down there. Waterside Quarter, which is the newest area in town, basically, as we all know it, much loved area of the town centre. Take a look at those spikes. Obviously, 2022 was the first year of Waterside Quarter. And as you can see, so the light blue on the left-hand side of those spikes is 2022. And as you come around to 2025, I think it's safe to say that Waterside Quarter is absolutely flying. They are fully let, they are busy. And as we can see that during those months of the good weather, the summer holidays, the draw of wanting to sit outside, enjoy a drink and enjoy some nice food in that lovely area has certainly worked for Waterside Quarter. 133,000 visits in August and 140,000 visits in September. What's quite interesting is you'll see the flip there. So I say that September is quieter on the high street, but it's busier in Waterside Quarter. That may be because the kids have gone back to school, so parents are now having a weekend for themselves. Or we see that our older and engaged audience are using Waterside Quarter to continue that long summer. I certainly very much enjoy sitting by the water and eating some tapas. Looking at that larger Maidenhead area shown in that kind of little map up there, that scoops up the entire town. So that shows all of our visits to the local area. That includes our business parks, our car parks, the supermarkets, a much broader area. But I think it's important to note because we're able to see how Maidenhead is performing as a whole. Over 1 million visits in August and just under 1 million in September. That's being driven by more people living within the town centre, but also more people working within the town centre. So we're seeing those numbers kind of statically around that kind of area, but it is positive that we know that so many people are coming through our town centre on a monthly basis. Now's the exciting stuff. What's on? Right, so let's look back. I always caveat this with, you should all be following Make Maidenhead because it's the place to get your information from Maidenhead, as well as my colleagues will shout out over here, my Royal Borough and Visit Windsor. But for the purpose of this, these are the headers from Make Maidenhead from August, September and October. I always say it, I will always be quoted on it. These are just 6 bullet points of the wonderful things which are happening within our town centre, be it kite festivals, nature festivals, Battle of the Bands, Waterways Fun Days, Gravity Grand Prix, Family Zoo Days, Halloween parties, pumpkin carving, and more. There has been so much going on, and as we head into what I will be discussing in a moment, there is huge amounts more to come. But what we found is that since the end of July, there's been pretty much not a weekend where there hasn't been something for our community to engage within the town centre. They are being led by our incredible creative community, and we are hugely grateful for the wonderful things that they do because there's some fantastic stuff. I don't know if anyone saw the town show recently. They had some bad weather, bless them, but they did not let it stop them. And they've raised huge amounts of money for charity through that event, and the event was fantastic. November, not entirely sure how we've made it to November. I'm pretty certain it was February last week. But we are in November, and we are about, this will be the first time I say this word. Christmas is coming. There's no denying it, everyone. Christmas is coming. We are now in official Christmas territory. November, we've got Christmas markets coming on. The big one, I'm going to shout about it more in a moment, Maidenhead's Christmas Light Switch On event next Saturday, 22nd of September. It's not September, it's 22nd of November. Be there or be square. We've got farmers markets, we've got lantern making ahead of Northern Farms Lantern Parade returning. The Italian Continental Shop are hosting a panettone festival. Does anyone want to attend with me? Because I could eat a whole panettone. The one I want to really talk about is, I think, a jewel in the Maidenhead crown, the Christmas market and the light switch on next Saturday, be there, be square. We have got live music all day. This entire area, including the Desborough Theatre, Library Square, St Ives Road, is closed to traffic, and we take it over with a fun fair, a live stage outside on the grass outside the town hall, a market of 37 as of today, 37 stalls in the Desborough Theatre. We've got live music from 11 AM on the Desborough Theatre stage, bars, food, live music outside from 2 o'clock. Fun fair, and new for 2025. Hold on to your hats. Mini golf. Library Square. Woo! Everyone in the room is screaming. Library Square will be turned into a mini golf arena for everyone to enjoy on Light Switch On Day. The idea of the Switch On Day is that it is an event that the entire community can come and enjoy. Whether you've got £5 in your pocket or £500 in your pocket, it is an event for everyone. And I really stand by the fact that we're keeping things low cost, lots of free options. You can come to Library Square at 12 o'clock. Is it 1 p.m., not 12 o'clock. You can come to Library Square at 1 p.m. and take part in a workshop with Shining Star Productions ahead of them taking to the stage. You've learnt the dance moves, you can dance along with them. So lots and lots of wonderful things like that. That event is coming up. We have confirmed the fireworks from the roof of the town hall, but they are weather dependent. So fingers crossed, everyone, that we don't get another storm. But at the moment, fireworks are happening. Other wonderful Christmas things. Festive sing-along Sundays are here to brighten and bring cheer to the shopping centre. Every Sunday from next Sunday until the 21st of December, there will be pop-up entertainment in the shopping centre, be that choirs, acoustic acts, duos, guitar stars. They'll be singing some festive bops that is free for everyone to enjoy. There's also lots of wonderful things happening in the shopping centre this Christmas. Thames Hospice are doing their annual gift wrapping. So when you can't be bothered to wrap all of those wonderful presents that you've bought for me and everyone else, you know, you can take them down to the shopping centre and Thames Hospice will wrap them for a donation, which is just fantastic. And they're really good at wrapping. It's not like what I do. I have been known to wrap with tin foil. One for the businesses. We launched yesterday the Maidenhead shop window competition. So we are encouraging all businesses and shops to get involved. You can decorate your Christmas window, take a photo and submit it to the Make Maidenhead Facebook page. We will then run a voting period where the one that's voted for best, the best one, will win a trophy and a £50 sponsored Facebook post to promote their business. So really nice business engagement tool. And also, let's make the windows really sparkly. So everyone needs to do that for me. So get your tinsel out. After I finish this, I will run off and then I'm going to come around with a brochure for everyone because the Royal Borough Christmas brochure is now out. You can scan that. You can pick up a brochure in libraries and various places. This poster is also on the notice board outside the town hall, so you can scan that. But the brochure is full of absolutely incredible things that are happening around Maidenhead, but across the entire borough for Christmas. And the Visit Windsor team have done a sterling job in getting that together. Upcoming events: Northern Farms Lantern Parade, Saturday, 6th of December. St Luke's Christmas Tree Festival, which is the 5th and 6th of December. Absolutely magical if you have never been. Please do go. Stubbings Christmas Market, Christmas at the Quarter, which is the Waterside Quarter Christmas event, where there promises to be a very magical Father Christmas, but can only come to that one because otherwise he's busy at other events because there is only one. And you can download the Christmas guide there. As ever, please ensure you are connected with us, be that through Make Maidenhead, Visit Windsor or My Royal Borough. We are the places where you can get the most up-to-date information about what is going on, but also we want to share what everyone is doing. So if you have got a Christmas event or an event in the new year that we haven't had yet, please share the information. The more we know, the more we can shout about it, and hopefully the more we can support your event. That's my presentation. Be very happy to take questions.
Thank you very much for that, Robin. That's action-packed as ever. Loads and loads of things in there. I open the floor to questions. No questions? Oh, well, I'll start anyway. Yeah, look, that golf simulator thing, I mean, that's caught my eye really good. And I just want to say about the book that book that was created last year, was it like the Windsor and Eton Town Partnership or the Maidenhead? I mean, I always get confused with so many.
Christmas guide.
Yeah, the guide, yeah.
So the guide is created by the Visit Windsor team
Visit
and
Windsor,
it
okay.
is produced and paid for by advertising. So we sell advertising space in it. It is the Royal Borough Christmas guide. I will bring some copies around, but it has been distributed locally through libraries and various places. So you can pick it up. We've had 5,000 printed.
Wow.
And we do have the ebook as well. So it really is a bit of a kind of go-to guide of all of the wonderful things that are happening, be that from restaurants or parties or wreath making or, you know, tiny things to ginormous Windsor illuminated things, you know. So it really does showcase all of the wonderful things that people are doing.
Yeah, and it's really well put together. The quality of the booklet, I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. You know, it was right up there. And yeah, it was just a pleasure. And it's really good when you're looking for it. You almost think it's like a national sort of booklet, and you sort of look for it, oh, that's around the corner, that's there, and I can just jump on my bike and go down there. So it's like, yeah, that's really good. Well done. I look forward to seeing that this year. Do we have any questions from any residents? Want to ask Robin anything? No. I just got a couple of questions. Oh, one. Yeah. Yes, madam.
I get confused as to where I'm sitting in this building, so I might point the wrong way, but golf is between Need and Hoppy Place. So it's just on the side of this building in the new development. So that middle unit that was to let, that is now open, yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly, yeah.
That's it.
See you down there, gals. We'll get the golf sticks out.
Yeah, fantastic. And also, I have got a question about the Marks and Spencer store in Maidenhead. I know there's been a lot of residents obviously approached me about that, and it's been sort of in the press about them closing, obviously very sadly, because they've been there for 50 years. And I understand they're moving next to the range, but is it any information that you can share with us? What's going to go in the new store? What's happening? What we're doing?
As we explain about any unit which is on the high street or in the shopping centre, they're not owned by RBWM. So whatever comes forward or moves or changes are private business deals. We have very little to nothing that we can do about that. Of course, it is a shame to see that shop go, but amazing that they are choosing to invest in the store, in the range as well. But yeah, there is very little we can say. They've made their announcement. Obviously, there is no official timeline as of that, but that's all we can do at the moment.
Okay. And because somebody was saying to me that it's only going to be a food hall, they're not going to do clothing or anything. Is that right?
That's my understanding from what I've read as per the press release from Marks and Spencer's. I understand that it will be a kind of first of its range food hall. As part of their new kind of business plan, but that's kind of what we got. I'm sure that plans will evolve as we move forward, and there will be more information about timelines and what will happen and what won't happen. But for now, Marks and Spencer's are still on the high street, along with lots of other retailers. So it's important that we continue to use them while they're with us.
Okay. And the other question is this like unique to Maidenhead that this big stores are closing, or is it because a lot of people have been asking like if we can have like a John Lewis or something like that, like a big store? Would you think somebody would take down, or is it some sort of...
Important to look nationally at what is happening with retail. It's certainly not unusual that larger stores, you know, the classic department store is almost a thing of the past now. John Lewis are kind of holding that firm, but it is a bit of a thing of the past now. But yeah, it's important to look at the national picture. Certainly, it's very easy to kind of look at things that are happening local to you and feel very, oh my God, this is only happening to us kind of thing. But it's important to look at the national picture of retail and see how that is changing. But like I said, for now, Marks and Spencer's are still with us. And I popped in there before this meeting. There is a lot of sparkly Christmas clothes, which I wanted to buy, so... Oh, good. Yeah.
Get the deals in. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Do we have any other questions on that? Councillor Baskerville.
Just looking at the repair cafe, just looking at the sort of range of things they do. Is it, you know, if I got a dodgy toaster or a lounge clock. Can I take it in there and get it repaired?
The Repair Cafe is insane. Like, it's absolutely mad. So it runs out of the Eco Action Hub, which is in the Nicholson Shopping Centre. If you go through the entrance, which is now opposite Card Factory Zone, one of the card shops that has moved onto the high street. And you'll find them on the left-hand side in the Eco Action Hub. They run repair cafes where they will take in your broken toaster. It's most likely someone might be able to fix it. If not, they'll be able to give you some advice. They have fixed record players and various other things, so they're full of a lot of handy volunteers that are able to kind of put their knowledge and know-how to make sure that we reduce, reuse and recycle.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Douglas, do you want to go? No? Okay, any further questions? No? Okay, so I think that is it. Thank you very much, Robin. If you want any more information, just keep tuned. Follow Robin on Make Maidenhead, and you'll know everything that's going on in the borough. Thank you. That's it. Thank you. Brilliant. Cheers, Robin. Thank you. Okay, so if we can move on to next agenda item number 6. So that's My Royal Borough. So this is to discuss business networking opportunities from My Royal Borough. This is led by Julia White, Visitor Manager, and Nicola Bell. So you have the floor, ladies. Oh, wow, look at that. It's like a Matrix. Like a hat.
Sorry, I'll carry on like that then. Sorry about this slight screen share option again then. Thank you for inviting me along. My name's Nicola Bell. I work in the Visit Windsor team. We're a small team, but we keep very busy running support programmes across the Royal Borough. My Royal Borough is one of those programmes, and it is in existence to support local business, and we run small business networking events throughout the borough. Background-wise, it was launched in 2020 in the midst of all those ghastly lockdowns to promote the reopening of high streets and our village centres. At the time, it was supervised or managed by an expert agency who are very experienced in regenerating town centres. And the original scheme included some central government funding that was available post-lockdowns. A lot of online training, which consisted of breakfast briefings and lunchtime learning sessions, specifically to support businesses that had been closed and were struggling with recruitment or to reopen in different circumstances and different times. So there was a lot of training offered to any type of business, any size of business, whether they had a high street presence or not, actually. And at the time, a directory of those businesses was set up to help promote them to local residents whose obviously shopping and trading habits had changed during that time as well. Oh, how's that not coming?
If you drop down there. No, sorry, that one. And go enter full screen mode. That's what I said.
Oh.
That'd be better.
I do apologise.
So you're on to the next.
Yeah. Yep, so hopefully everyone kept on that. So the programme has evolved as times have changed and business needs have changed. So My Royal Borough nowadays really is helping small business promotion, and that's through social media, storytelling, collaborations, and sharing of good news, events, particularly to the local market throughout the borough. We also send out regular e-news and communication to all businesses, and there's a lot of residents signed up actually, so residents can read this news as well. About once a month, an e-news goes out, and then dedicated if there's hot news. So for example, in Windsor at the moment, any street closures and things relating to the Windsor Christmas light switch on event, which is happening this weekend. One of the most popular elements at the moment of the programme is the face-to-face networking sessions that we run. We hold those every 6 to 8 weeks. Open invitation to any small business registered within the borough. They're extremely popular. They always oversubscribe. They're free of charge to businesses to attend. And we encourage people to come along, talk about what they're doing, talk about any news, any new products they're launching, and to collaborate with fellow borough businesses so that we increase the sort of local economy. We encourage new people to come along, so bring a friend that hasn't been before. And they're very, very popular. I've got a few photographs to show you in a second to highlight what they look like. The My Royal Borough programme also incorporates free training sessions, and we link up with organisations like Visit England, Visit Britain, local skills training hubs and Berkshire Growth Hub. And they cover all sorts of financial training, startup training, marketing courses online. So there's also always a lot of information on there for businesses to refer to. And we encourage businesses with premises to showcase themselves by hosting the meetings. And again, I've got some examples to show you. Need, just across the road, had a really successful event earlier on in the year. Oh God. There we are. There's some Maidenhead events that we've run all this year, actually. The top one was at Waltham Place. The Eco Farm, which is a fantastic hidden gem, actually. They have public open days and it's well worth a visit. They've got a fantastic farm shop up there. It's really, really a hidden gem in the borough. They hosted us, gave us a brilliant tour of everything they're doing up there. Lady in the top right is Cocoa, offering incredible homemade artisan chocolate there, and it was a fantastic opportunity for her to showcase what she's doing there in the Waterside Quarter, and she's very community inspired as well. She's running a lot of book clubs, a lot of business meetings there, an absolutely brilliant asset to the Maidenhead Town Centre. Bottom left, Simon hosted us at Need Pizzeria prior to him expanding brilliantly over to Wokingham. And you can see we've got about 40 or 50 people in each of these forums, all talking about their businesses and joining up and working together. And then bottom right there was at the Chartered Institute of Marketing over at Cookham. We have guest speakers coming in to highlight specific business training needs. I think we were learning about LinkedIn there at that particular event and the benefits that that offers. We have various means of communicating to local residents and businesses. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We've got about 7,000, no, more like 10,000 followers actually across the two channels now. The graphic there you see is slightly out of date. I prepared it a week or so ago, but as Robin has said, we're fully into supporting Christmas events and Christmas activity now and Christmas promotions throughout the borough. There's always a lot going on. We try and take in Cookham and all of the local villages as well, not just the two big main towns. The last networking event in person there was last month at Other Space Arts, which is a new arts centre in Windsor Town Centre, and again, very much worth a visit if you get a chance to go along. Jack's nodding his head, it's brilliant. How do we get people involved? Obviously, programmes like this only work with business involvement, so we are constantly shouting about what we're doing. I can pass leaflets around, but we created a nice little information flyer there that you can see on the screen. That was sent out to every registered business in the borough, not last year, the year before, actually, with business rates. So we were trying very hard to reach everybody. We do offer a referral scheme, so we ask businesses to invite another business along. There's QR codes there. I think that's been out on the town centre board out here as well. We're on LinkedIn, trying to connect with people. So the more small, independent local businesses that we can get to join, benefits everybody, really. So if you know of anybody, please do send them our way. We love to have new people involved. And actually last year, no, the beginning of this year it was, we held an event especially for anyone that hadn't been to a networking event before, so that there was no fear of not knowing what to do. We actually had a skilled coach along to help people with networking skills. We had about 55 people come along to that one. It was at the Castle Hotel in Windsor. So we're very aware of nervousness for anyone who hasn't been to an event like that before as well, and we very much handhold and nurture them through. As Robin has said, please do follow My Royal Borough and Visit Windsor, and of course you're all following Make Maidenhead. There's a QR code up there, so you can link up with My Royal Borough, and I'm happy to pass leaflets along. It's a real whirlwind tour. I know we've got a lot to get through, but does anyone have any questions?
Any questions, anybody? No?
None.
No, not at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, one sec. So, somebody there, itchy. It's like the auction here, isn't it? Yeah, go on, Adam.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you for the presentation as well. It's really good to hear all the work that's going on. There's, I guess a couple of points I wanted to ask. One is a sort of specific thing, thinking about some of local businesses and sort of startups, and particularly I'm very keen on kind of, the independent artisans and the things that they do. So, and I'm aware of, for example, the craft co-op in the town. Are they part of the network, and do you get sort of able to sort of signpost those people and make those connections? And
absolutely, Adam. Yes, Heidi actually at the Craft Coop is a real regular. She's very good at rounding up the individual makers and creators from the Coop as well. And Sue Strange as well is very much involved. So yeah, people like the Craft Coop are again instrumental in getting some of their smaller suppliers along as well.
Great. Yeah, and I suppose the other point I wanted to ask is just to understand the kind of dynamics of the interactions between your team and other independent sort of civic partners. So I'm thinking particularly of the Chamber of Commerce and the work that they do. I mean, how do you ensure that, you're not well, I wouldn't say treading on each other's toes, but making sure that what you're doing is distinct enough that you're adding as much value as possible. So and because obviously resources are limited, so we want to make sure we really getting the most from it.
Yes, I mean they very much support what we're doing. We've been along to some of their events, and equally they've been along to some of ours. And particularly at things like the business expos that take place at some of the big venues. Royal Windsor Racecourse, one of the last ones. Seema and some of her team will be alongside us on our stand, so we speak to people jointly. So I think they're very supportive of what we're doing as well. You're right, resources is very limited. If we had more, there's a whole lot more that we could do, but we do work with them, yes.
Thank you. Any other questions on that bit there? No? I just comment, I know you guys are stretched on resources. Sorry? Yeah, you can hear me now? Yeah, I know this, obviously resources are stretched locally. But I mean, a few years ago, we didn't have a team. I mean, we've got a fantastic team now, yourself, Robin, Nicola and Julia. I mean, you know, you're not the whole team, but I mean, you're almost there, aren't you? And sort of, we touch on all the areas, you know, in terms of small businesses, larger businesses, events, training, skills. And that's really, really good. We obviously need support from government as well on this. I had a discussion with the leader of the council earlier this week. I had a meeting in his offices, and that was particularly regarding business rates. You know, the rates have gone up quite considerably over the last couple of years. Following that meeting, I have written, and the letter will be published with agenda minutes to the Chancellor of the Exchequer ahead of the autumn budget, and to put our concerns forward. The local businesses, we need more support in terms of skills growth and business rates. So hopefully on the 26th of November, we may get some good news if somebody listens. If not, then we still got you guys to sort of keep nudging it in the right direction. So we just got to keep remaining positive. Thank you. Do we have any other questions from anyone else? No? Okay, so is that done on that one? And Julia, did you want to introduce yourself? To anyone touch them up about what you're doing briefly?
Yeah, thank you. I head up the Visit Windsor team. So our team is responsible for the tourism promotions across the whole of the borough. So supporting the leisure tourism and hospitality sector, but also the full range of SMEs, as Nicola has described, from all sectors, so retail and dining as well. To your point, Councillor, we've also just added a new food and drink producers section to our website. So we're really trying to showcase the artisan food and drink producers in the borough as well. And that it's so exciting to see what is coming out of this borough and really shine a spotlight on some fantastic young producers who are doing brilliant things. So we really do want to showcase the best of the borough to anybody who's interested, really, whether they live here and they've been living here for a long time, or if they're thinking about coming to visit for a day or a weekend. We've got so much to offer, and we're always so excited to promote it. So yeah, we've got a great job and a great team. You know, we're very lucky, even though we are challenged and we are stretched. We've got an amazing destination to work with. So yeah, we are blessed in that regard.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all the work you guys do. Thank you. Okay, so we can move on to the next agenda item then. You're more than welcome to stay or leave if you don't want to get into this technical stuff. Right. Okay, so agenda item number 7. So this is condition pavements in Maidenhead, bus lane on Bridge Road. So we're going to be discussing the conditions on the pavements, and also we want to update on the bus lane in Bridge Road. So Doug Tremelian, Transport Policy Manager. You have the floor, Doug.
Thank you very much, Councillor, and good evening again to everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. I'll start with the update on the condition of footways in Maidenhead. So a bit of context for everybody. From a safety perspective, the condition of footways in Maidenhead and indeed the borough are routinely inspected. That's in line with the council's agreed highway safety inspection manual, which can be viewed publicly on the council's website. Inspections are made on foot, and roads and streets and paths with higher footfall are inspected more regularly. To give you an example of some of the inspection frequencies, so our most prestige walking areas, the town centres, are inspected on foot every 2 weeks, with a maximum interval of 4 weeks between inspections. And some of our, that sort of goes down to sort of about every 3 months for some of our more lightly used walking routes with a maximum interval of 16 weeks. So that's a reasonably good frequency of somebody having eyes on the streets to catch problems early. But of course, in between those times, if anybody does spot a problem with the footways, there's a dedicated form to do so on the council's website. You can find it under the Report It heading. And as always as well, customer services and library staff are always happy to help with inquiries in the libraries or by telephone or by post for anyone who wants to use one of those methods to report something to us instead. So beyond safety defects, the council continues to steadily find ways of investing in enhanced environments for visitors to Maidenhead Town Centre. There is a Maidenhead paving master plan, which was adopted by the council in 2011 and is being used each time opportunities come forward to invest in footway enhancements. And that's really important in terms of getting a consistent palette across the town centre that's of the kind of quality that we want. So the western end of Maidenhead High Street, so at the far end as we sit in this building, the recent works at the southern end of King Street towards the railway station, and the recently redeveloped area around the Waterside Quarter. Those are examples of the master plan's approach to upgrading of high footfall streets. Whilst the improved footways more locally to us in this building around the new developments on Park Street and York Road, and as well at the northern end of Bridge Avenue, those are examples of the master plan's approach to uplifting sort of the surrounding streets around the centre of the town centre. The council will continue to uplift footways in line with this master plan. However, the council is reliant upon either developers undertaking work around their own development sites, or else financial contributions from developers or government grant funding to take forward these improvements. So works can only be undertaken as these suitable opportunities arise. A location that is known to be of particular concern to many in the town is the section of the High Street between Queen's Road and St Ives Road, where the footways are older and narrow and undulating. Painted lines and surfacing were introduced to widen the footways into the carriageway, but in practice we know road users have found these markings fairly unclear, and people walking have been pretty apprehensive about overstepping the curbstone and using that space, and drivers have tended to park in that space as well. So appreciate that was a sort of a quick and interim solution, but that hasn't had the effect that was desired. Further, the height difference between the old footway and the extended footway area creates some challenges, we know, for people with reduced mobility to use that full width. So I think that for me really underlines that there is not a quick, cheap fix, and making improvements to the footways at this location will require a sizable future injection of external funding to fully relay and widen that footway. So that comes back to seizing those opportunities for grant funding or around developments as they come forward. So that's what I wanted to note in terms of footway quality, and happy to take questions in a moment. I can touch very briefly on the bus stop area on Bridge Avenue that was mentioned. So this is an old lay-by area. Once upon a time, that was the town's bus station. There were 4 bus stops there until some years ago. At the moment, we probably only need 1 plus 1 area for a bus to lay over. So that does create potentially some room for some parking spaces, additional parking spaces in the area that's no longer needed for the other bus stops. Our engineering team have been having a look at what can be fitted in there, and a proposal should be available to councillors fairly shortly for your consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Doug. Right. Questions, first of all. Madam on the left-hand side. So did you want to sit on this mic there so everybody can hear you? Is that all right? You can just hit the button there until the light comes on. That's it. It's on. That light's on. And then everybody can hear you at home as well.
Yes, it was actually us that raised the question of Bridge Avenue.
Yes.
At the last meeting that we came to, and I took a lot of photographs of cars parked on the pavement. I appreciate that because there's a lot of takeaway food places. It's very busy, but if you are an elderly person, which we are, it's very difficult sometimes to walk to Waitrose because the road is, the pavement is very bad anyway, and you've got people parking on the pavement itself. I have a friend, we live in Elgar Place. I have a friend who's got a trolley. To go to Waitrose, she goes the long way round. That's not right. And it was me that took photographs and I gave them to Jack, actually. I'm sure he passed them to you. And we would like to know what you're going to do about that. We've had 3 accidents of people falling on the pavement because it's so uneven. In fact, 2 of those people have died, not as a result of the fall, but subsequently. Didn't help, did it? What are you going to do about it?
Thanks very much for your question. I think I can picture the area of Bridge Avenue that you're talking about as at the kind of the end nearer the waterside quarter. Is that correct? Near the shops?
We're right opposite here. By the shops. Right.
By the shops.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you go down past the library, you come to Elgar Place. In front of the shops. So the shops are further on the same side as us, further up. A while back, 2 years ago, there was a meeting in the library where people were asking for ideas about what could happen. Outside those shops, there are 3 huge, great trees beautiful trees in huge, great pots. But in actual fact, if you didn't have those there, you could make parking spaces that go in facing the shops. And a lot of the problems that we have with people parking anywhere would be alleviated by that.
Thank you very much. I suspect if you mentioned this to Councillor Douglas probably passed this on to our parking team, who'd be more pertinent than myself to address this for you. So maybe that's something we could talk to the parking team about, because it sounds like this is about an enforcement of people parking where they shouldn't be parking. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And they're parking on the pavement.
Yeah. So I think perhaps that's something that our parking team need to comment on rather than myself, if that's okay. But I appreciate you would like an answer to that. So maybe that's something we could work with the chair to kind of get you an answer to.
And another thing, a very simple thing actually, would be to repaint the lines on the road and the arrow that points out that it's actually a one-way road, because the number of people that drive the wrong way down it is unbelievable.
The signs need to be larger, the one-way signs, because people seem to be blind.
I suspect it's a lot of people who are not English, British by birth or what have you, and can't read or something. But honestly, every week, somebody goes down the wrong way.
There's going to be an almighty accident there one way.
Thanks very much for reporting that to us. I'll feed that into our traffic safety team so they can investigate that for you. I'm always happy to have comments in a forum like this, and if there are comments outside, these meetings only happen every so often. So just a general reiteration, if there are safety concerns that people notice on the highway at any time, those can be reported in a similar way to the way I mentioned earlier. So that's either using the report it function on the website, or you can tell customer services on the telephone, or report it to the library front desk as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Douglas.
Thank you, Chair. I can't remember if I was subbing at the time or if I was sat in the public benches over there, the chairs over there. When Sergeant Collins came and spoke to us, we had a discussion. We had the parking team here as well, didn't we? Speaking about pavement parking.
Yes, that was Phil Collins, Sergeant Phil Collins.
Sergeant Phil Collins, yeah. The upshot of that, if I remember rightly, correct me if I'm wrong, Chair, is that the police, actually, if there's an obstruction, it's a police issue, but they're not going to do anything about it. We as a local authority have no powers to do anything about it if parking is legal. But along that stretch of Bridge Avenue where there's double yellow lines, of course, we can enforce. Makes no difference if the car's on the highway or if it's on the pavement or half and half. Double yellow lines apply for the full width of the highway. And if that's the case, then it's a matter of getting more enforcement down Bridge Avenue. Am I right on all the facts there?
No, you are. You're making sense there perfectly. It looks like we'll have to get the enforcement team on foot patrol every 2 weeks down there as well as the transport team. Because what we're going to have to do is go down there and slap some tickets on, and then there have to be some behavioural change and nudge them in the right direction. Yeah, no problem. We'll be on the case. I've had a conversation meanwhile with my assistant here, Mikey, who has the photos in his possession. He's going to be sending the photos out to the relevant departments as soon as we finish this meeting. So that will all be sent out to the relevant members. Doug, we'll copy you in on that as well, so you're appraised on the situation, and then hopefully we'll get some resolution. There is something we're looking at in the background as well in terms of from a ward perspective, conflict of interest, and myself and Councillor Douglas were looking at a one-way system on that Bridge Road, where the cars are coming in from the Florence Avenue. What's happening is they're coming into the Bridge Street, and then they're turning left up to Bridge Avenue. They're going the wrong way. There's no need for that traffic conflict. If we can have a one-way flow, it will help with other things. But we are working with departments about that. It's very complicated how to change the traffic flow. But I think we can do something. I think we've got Doug here, who's obviously very competent in that area. Have a look. If it works, it would just make things safer. What we don't want is residents falling over, because we've got a lot of more sort of senior housing around that part of town there now. So we've got to be very careful. Pavements have to be spick and span, lampposts, lights have to be on, and the drains and everything's got to be clear. So we've just got to be really, really on the ball here. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies, for raising that. Really appreciate that. So, we could, well, yeah. I wish we could. We just got it's just regulations. There's too much regulations. But thank you for the offer. Thank you for the offer. Cheers. Councillor Shaw's got his hand up.
I was just going to say, if everything to sum it up, the current Google Maps of Bridge Avenue from July 2025 has marked on the double yellow lines up the road.
Right.
I can believe it.
Right. Okay. We got it. Is there any way we can get them pictures removed from Google Maps? Right, we'll get them removed as well. Right. Right. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Right. We're going to give Doug a heart attack here. Right. Okay. That's enough at the moment. Thank you. Thank you very much. We made the point. Doug, you got all that on board. Thank you very much, ladies. We've got Councillor Douglas.
Just very quickly, I want to say thanks to the ladies as well, but also to anyone watching on YouTube. I mean, we're obviously getting some action on Bridge Avenue as a result of these ladies coming and expressing their concerns. This is a really good forum to come visit and raise your concerns. If you want to get some action on issues like this, why not come along to the town forum and raise the issues?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Douglas. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Sure. Thank you, ladies. Cheers. Councillor Shaw?
Yeah, just one question for you, Doug. When you said there's less used roads or footways are checked every 16 weeks, is that purely for the town centre or for kind of the neighbourhood wards as well?
Right, so this is all published. There's quite a lot of information here because there's lots of different categories of road, path, footway, and they've all got different inspection frequencies. So the full list is in the Highway Safety Inspection Manual on the council's website, or I'm sure we can provide a copy from the front desk downstairs if anybody wants to ask for one. So I think so I highlighted prestige walking routes, which is the right in the town centre routes. The maximum interval between inspections is 4 weeks, but it's typically 2 weeks that we send an inspector around. I also mentioned as an example secondary walking routes. So those would be slightly further away from the town centre, but also some routes that have been identified elsewhere in the borough where we know there's higher footfall. So they're typically inspected on foot every 3 months with a maximum of 16 weeks between inspections. Does that help?
I suppose what I'm trying to gather is, so these are footways for roads and things, but I'm thinking for like alleyways, there's certain ones that I'm aware of that, I should say, slight sense of disrepair, but I'd just like to know what the kind of interval between inspections would be expected for those if they're further out of town centre.
So I think if there's a specific alleyway you're thinking of, perhaps come and find me afterwards. We can certainly have a look at that. I think it is dependent upon how many people are using it. I mean, if we inspected every footway every 2 weeks, that would be an enormous amount of work. So it is toned to how many people will be using that alleyway. What is a reasonable inspection frequency to make sure that we keep it safe.
Thank you. Councillor Beaumont.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to raise obviously something which is of course a seasonal issue and happens every year, but sometimes slightly unpredictable when and what sort of how sort of prolonged it might be, and that's obviously the issue of leaves falling off trees, which of course happens a lot. Obviously, part of the pavement condition, this is important as well, that that our contractors are coming and clearing at the right time. If they come too soon, and they'll have to repeat it. They have to repeat the clearing up more than they're scheduled to do. So I don't know. I guess in terms of what our kind of service expectations are in terms of clearing of leaves, and whether you have any information about how contractors are performing in that respect, because we do from time to time have obviously complaints, and we do need to make service requests on the website if we report it, where we find that there seems to be an area which hasn't been cleared, where it seems that many other areas have. So I just wanted to kind of understand how that's managed. I'm not sure it's necessarily in your direct area, but it would be helpful to understand it a bit more.
Thank you very much for the question. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to let you down in that I'm just not the person who would be qualified to answer that question for you, but I can absolutely make sure that you're put in touch with the contract manager for our street cleaning services, who'd be able to kind of guide you on that. I mean, the basic answer that I can give is that the council does have a contract in place to make sure that those areas are cleared, because that is obviously part of making sure that the footways are accessible to everybody. But in terms of just how the council organises itself is something that I'm afraid I don't get particularly involved in.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I suppose when the inspections that you were talking about before, I mean, they're purely looking at structural defects. I assume. I mean, and I assume they happen in the daytime, so they're also not looking at, for example, issues with street lighting, which again, we report as and when we see lights which are out. We obviously we'll report that and encourage residents to do the same. But it's, in terms of whether there's an actual kind of proactive inspection regime going on for that sort of thing, it'd be I don't know if you have an answer on that one.
Yes, of course. So sorry if that wasn't. I probably should have started with that. So I think the Highways Safety Inspection Manual is about the condition of the infrastructure. So be looking for defects such as, where a slab has come loose and that could potentially cause a trip hazard, or I don't know, manhole covers and so forth that might be loose, degrading of the quality of the surface. That, I think particularly for walking, it's mostly about kind of trip hazards, isn't it? That can appear if we don't inspect. I do believe that we do inspect at night as well, to make sure that we're capturing those conditions. And I believe there are streetlight inspections as well, but I might have to again refer to a third colleague who would be able to give you some really good advice on what our streetlight inspection regime is.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any further questions on that item? No? Councillor Baskerville. Thank you.
Not so much a question, more an observation. My area of Pinckney's Green was done yesterday by the machine which picks up the leaves. So I was quite pleased that I was going to give them a contact anyway, but it was sort of preempted it really, and they did a good job. I mean, the only problem we're talking about cars on pavements and that is that they have to go round the parked vehicles. They can't obviously pick up leaves when there's a vehicle in the way, and there's seems to be a lot more cars parked on roads now than there used to be, and consequently the leaves stay there. And it's just one of those things. They can't keep coming back, but it's a point that you notice the areas where the cars are parked because the leaves are still there.
Yeah. I mean, Doug, is there anything that can be done about that? I mean, I do get Councillor Baskerville's point there. In the old days, you'd sort of have a sign on the lamppost and everybody would clear the area on a Saturday morning or something. There are more cars on the road, and obviously people do different shifts. But is there any process where we could ask contractors to maybe put like a postcard under the wiper blade, saying, we attempted to clean here, we couldn't do it, and would you do the civic thing and sort of clean up around your car yourself, because we're not going to be back for another 3 months or something. Is there something that we could do to just enforce a bit of civic pride? Because I know, like in the olden days, like all the sort of people used to clean their house, the front house, go in the road, do the pavement, and bit in the road, and sort of they used to be quite proud of the houses. And we're losing a little bit of that, are we?
It's quite nice that some people do that, and others don't bother at all. And you notice the difference as you drive along a road. Where people don't bother and where people do. It's quite noticeable.
It's just something to see if you can gently nudge these people in the right way.
I really regret to kind of disappoint this forum that I'm probably not the right person to speak to about that. I think perhaps the street cleaning manager could provide an answer through Mikey to these questions, if that's okay.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. One for the cleaning manager then. Councillor Coe?
I can provide a bit of an answer because this is in my portfolio. So I've spent quite a lot of time discussing this matter with officers who are maybe more relevant than Doug to the case. So the situation is obviously the road sweeper doesn't sweep where there are parked cars, and we've been around whether there could be advance notice of when roads are going to be swept, which the answer is that effectively the contractual provision of the road sweeping is so tight in the terms of how much they're trying to achieve in so much time. They don't always know which day, give or take 2 or 3 days, they will be sweeping a given road. And so they don't feel able to tell people that they should leave their parked car off the roads for 3 days every month or 2. So then the result is they sweep around cars. And they don't really have the ability to, remove the leaves from between cars and the curb in case they damage the cars. So it is a known issue, but without a known answer at this time, I think is the best way of putting it.
Okay, system's broken then at the moment. We've got another one on the list there. Right, okay, we'll get that sorted. Councillor Douglas.
Thank you, Chair. A little while ago, you brought up the possible one-way system change. I
Yes,
understand you rightly, you're talking about the flip from the one way to pointing the other way.
yes.
Well, we've got Doug in the room. Is it worth asking him where we're at with that? Is it going to happen? Do we have a schedule or an idea of when it'll
Well,
happen?
we could do, he might defer it though. Shall we
I
try?
think this one's firmly in Doug's area. That's why I chose
okay.
it.
I think the answer I can give is that we're aware that there is interest in doing that, and there has been a small amount of work that's been done to look at various options. I think one of the sort of key considerations is that the town centre one-way system does have a bit of a single point of failure at the entrance at Broadway, particularly if any of the other roads end up having their direction switched around. So I think there's some really careful thought that needs to be done to sort of present some options. I think personally, I do think something can be done, but I think there are some choices to be made. So we'd like to prepare those for councillors and general discussion. And that work will that work has been asked for, and we are on the case.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. That's good. We'll take that. Thank you. Okay. Right. Let's move on to agenda item number 8. This is Loftings. So this is to discuss concerns at the Loftings with the chair of the Residents Association. Do one of you guys want to take the chair, the hot seat, and the lights on, the speaker is on. Well, I'll just let everybody know I've been presented with odour and operational nuisance, a resident briefing pack. And I believe all members have got one of these packs, have they? And you have one there, Vice Chair? Thank you very much. If you could just introduce yourself, sir, and then just let us know what are the issues in Lofting. They're brand new flats there. Lovely. You've got brand new flats, you've got loads of parking next door. What's the problem?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, my name is Dragos Georgescu, and I represent the residents in the Loftings. We only moved last year, approximately 40 months ago, and since then we've been experiencing very bad putrid smells coming from the Circle waste transfer facility. And I would like to read a few points, if that's all right, yes, and discuss things further.
Yes.
So, Chair, Councillors, thank you for this opportunity. As I mentioned, my name is Dragos Georgescu, and I live in the Loftings on Vickers Way, which is less than 100 meters from the Circle waste depot. I represent multiple residents who experience severe environmental impacts from this facility. I want to be clear, we are not here to attack officers personally or to complain about minor inconveniences. We are reasonable people asking for what the law requires, which is a fair investigation conducted at the time the nuisance actually occurs using the correct legal framework. The odor events are not trivial. I personally documented episodes lasting 9 to 13 hours. Preventing us from opening windows, disrupting sleep, and making normal use of our homes impossible. These occur consistently between May and September when temperatures rise. Yet, the Environmental Protection has stated in writing that they will not investigate during warm months. They rely instead on faint winter conditions. And before stage 2 even concluded, they declared no statutory nuisance exists without even witnessing a severe event. This is a central procedural failure, and the council concluded that there was no nuisance while supposedly investigating whether there was a nuisance. I would like to highlight 3 fundamental problems with how this has been handled so far. First, the sniff test methodology is structurally flawed. A single officer attends for 5 to 17 minutes. If they don't personally detect strong odor, the case is closed despite multiple residents reporting hours of intense smell. When we continue reporting in real time, no second officer is sent. No one returns within 30 minutes to check again. The second issue is that the council only checks ground level. Odor plumes behave differently at height. The council has never assessed upper floors or balconies where residents actually live and detect odors. This is not multi-receptor sampling, it's single point sampling that misses the actual exposure. Third, the wrong legal framework has been applied throughout. Environmental protection cited noise case law, Murdoch versus Glacier Metal, when assessing odor. Odor has its own statutory test under Section 79 of the Environmental Protection Act. Prejudicial to health or a nuisance. That's the test. It's not a higher threshold, not a noise precedent. The council also suggested that there were not enough complaints. Legally, that's irrelevant. The case law is very clear. One complainant is sufficient. And when we pointed to the science environmental permit, officers used permit compliance as a defense. This establishes that permit compliance does not preclude statutory nuisance. FOI requests have revealed troubling inconsistencies and bias in how investigations have been conducted. One FOI response says Thames Water was involved in handling complaints. Another, they were not. Yet officers repeatedly told us the smell was likely sewage, even though residents consistently reported rotting waste odor. More concerning is the fact that officer attendance logs obtained through FOI requests describe odors as what you'd expect at a tip and refer to the depot as a long-established commercial activity. This language shows officers are normalizing the nuisance rather than assessing it impartially. The Environmental Protection Act does not exempt established sites from statutory nuisance law. FOI 002010 confirms that the council does not hold the operator's odor management plan. Without it, they cannot identify or verify compliance with permit conditions. And the council has no noise monitoring equipment and no written procedures for the odor response. Officers attend only when in the area. But there's a fundamental planning failure that underpins all of this. When the Loftings development was assessed for odor impact, the waste facility was completely excluded from that assessment. A councillor confirmed that in writing. The very source of the odor we are experiencing was not even considered when planning permission was granted for homes less than 100 meters away. Planning condition 25 required carbon filter mechanical ventilation for odor mitigation. The council approved those details in 2017, but no one has verified whether the system was installed, commissioned, or is being maintained. If it doesn't exist or isn't working, that's planning enforcement failure directly affecting our homes. And I would also like to mention that these carbon filters would only apply to indoors only, whereas outdoors, if we were to go out on the balconies during an odor event, we wouldn't be able so, because these carbon filters wouldn't eliminate the outside smell. There is a little bit more. A councillor has also confirmed that the depot is operating at or near capacity, with internal relocation discussions already having occurred. Overcapacity sites inherently struggle with odor control, particularly when permit condition 413 requires immediate control or removal of odor-generating waste. Every prolonged odor event suggests a potential breach of that requirement, yet no one is asking what action did the operator take, was waste removed, and when. This isn't resident hypersensitivity, it's a structural mismatch that was predictable and requires strategic review. Beyond odor, residents experience daily industrial noise. HGVs rev loudly, entering and exiting the depot all day. Commercial vehicles idle for 30 minutes under bedroom windows. I have been woken after a night shift by an extremely loud ship-like horn, as you can imagine, a very loud one, which made me jump out of the bed, literally. Drivers beep constantly inside the depot yard, and trucks routinely park overnight directly beneath our bedrooms, obstructing visibility and creating pedestrian safety hazards. FOI 002052 shows that the council examined just 1 week of Circle's own logs and recorded 28 miles per hour in a 20 zone, which is 40% over the speed limit. The council refused to release full logs, and again, there was no noise or speed monitoring equipment on our street. Again, this is industrial noise, not general traffic, which is not exempt. We are asking the council on some specific actions. 1, require a proper warm weather investigation between May and September when the nuisance actually occurs. 2, ensure the correct EPA Section 79 legal test is applied, not a noise case law, not permit compliance, or complaint number thresholds. 3, mandate acceptance of multi-resident reporting and stronger evidence of nuisance. 4, challenge the refusal of real-time or out-of-hours attendance during actual odor events. 5, demand independent monitoring instead of relying solely on Circle's own logs. 6, investigate environment protection resourcing failures, no noise equipment, no odor tools, no written procedures. 7, review the land use compatibility of this depot next to high density housing, including relocation feasibility. 8, summon senior officers from environmental health, planning, waste, and contract management to provide a full account. 9, prevent predetermination of nuisance outcomes before proper investigation is completed. And 10, help avoid local government ombudsman escalation by ensuring a fair, lawful process now. Chair, we are not here to make unreasonable demands. We are simply asking for what the law already requires, a fair and impartial investigation conducted during the period when the nuisance occurs using the correct legal framework. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much indeed. Right, okay, before we go to questions, I just want to check. I know that the Vice Chairman has an update to give as well on that, but I just want to check. There's a lot of legal issues obviously being raised here. Mike, have we got the legal team here? No? Right, okay, we can't get a legal opinion on that because we're talking about Section 79 Environmental Protection Act. That we do need to get an opinion on some of this stuff. So we're going to take this away. How we can intervene? This one, there's a lot of points there. One of them we want to cross off straight away. Number 10, avoid ombudsman escalation by ensuring fair, lawful process now. So we cross off number 10. That one we're going to get that one dealt with now straight away. Obviously, these are very serious issues. Without, obviously, you don't want us to predetermine what's happening and what's going on. I've got some advice to give, but I want to pass it on to Vice Chairman, Councillor Taylor, just to feedback as a ward councillor. And you've also been doing some work in the background.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
The reason I asked the residents to come here tonight was to explain what's been going on. I do have some updates, and I would ask that the forum members listen to what's been said with the idea of anything that we can't give an update or a solution on now to possibly do a scoping document to take to place ONS, because this is something that is a real problem for my residents, and this is going to crop up more. The more we build in the town centre, the more we're building around restaurants and you know, busy roads. This is something that's going to come up. Now, what we needed to do was to find out if there had been a failing in the planning application when that had gone through, or if there was something else going on. So as you've heard, there was a condition in the planning application. The planning application was passed in 2014. Now the reason, sorry, I keep dipping out. The reason the waste transfer station wasn't included was because it was deemed negligible, the smell from that plant. So it was never included within the odour assessment that went with the planning application in 2014. Now, the reason it was deemed negligible was because the waste is actually taken to a plant in Wallingford. So it's not stored long enough, or it wasn't deemed to be stored long enough to cause an issue. However, obviously, I don't know whether the load has increased since then, but it's now clearly an issue. Now, condition 25 on the planning application was signed off in December 2016, the 16th of December 2016, and it was signed off on the back of an email from Redrow to say that they were going to fit certain extractors in certain plots, not all plots, just certain plots that they deemed were the ones that would be worst affected. And so the condition was signed off. I have to give kudos to the planning department here, who have been really, really helpful. The officer I've been dealing with, Nick, has been super helpful with this. He's contacted Redrow directly to find out if they were fitted in the construction of the loftings. There's been an issue with Redrow merging two offices. A lot of staff have left. So there's no historical knowledge there. They've got to go diving back through records. The planning department have actually opened an enforcement case as of yesterday against Redrow. Now, this is not to say that there is an issue and they haven't been fitted. It's been opened because currently they don't have that information. So that is open and the planning enforcement team will be looking into that. Redrow have confirmed they have received emails from customers and that they are planning site visits to the site, to the blocks, to see if they have been fitted. So that is good news because it means that action is now being taken, people are aware there's an issue, and we can move forward with that. Obviously, depending on what the outcome of that is, will be how we move forward. You know, I don't know how that's going to pan out, but at least that's actually actively taking place. The other issue, obviously, is the trucks on Bickersway. Now, we did a consultation in May 2024 with the residents of the Loftings, and we had a majority who wanted double yellow lines put down to prevent the lorries parking. The design was confirmed in August 2025 by the parking department. We then had further discussions with them behind the scenes because we weren't convinced that that was, you know, going to be enough, and the problem was escalating. A brand new design was done in September, and I'm pleased to say signs started going up today. So that is actually going into Vickersway. Again, that is something that we're going to have to, once all the signs are up, once all the markings are down, we're going to have to see, you know, if they take notice, and then, you know, figure out how we're going to enforce it, you know, substantially, so you guys aren't having this problem. But that is actually happening right now. So I know Richard has probably got some things to say, and maybe Adam as well, but anything that we can't actively, that we haven't got a solution for now, I'd really like us to do what we can for these residents, because if we've got a scoping document and if we've got a way forward and if we know that these problems exist and are going to repeat, we're going to be helping future residents that are moving into the borough. So can we just open the floor and have some discussion about it? Thanks.
Yes, certainly. Thank you very much for that update. That's a very, very comprehensive update. There's already work going on in the background, even before we've started a meeting. Councillor Coe. Councillor Coe is not only just a panel member here, he's also the lead member for, you've got a large portfolio of environmental services as well, is it?
So the waste bit falls under me. So I just wondered, I haven't actually got anything to say at the moment, but I wondered if you would be able to send me this document electronically so I can discuss it with the officers who report to me. So before you leave, I'll give you my council email.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Jack Douglas.
Just a quick sort of tangent on the double yellow lines. We obviously, I guess, we're all aware that we have a we have a structural issue with enforcement, which is that it costs us more to enforce than we get in fines. It makes it very hard for a council with hundreds of millions of pounds of debt to push out loads and loads of enforcement officers, potentially in the middle of the night and so on and so forth. But just something to put in the mix. It is, if there's areas where you want to prevent parking and you're okay with preventing loading as well, you paint the double yellow lines on the curb as well, and it makes enforcement a lot easier and quicker. The enforcement officer can walk up and down the street and slap tickets on with 0 observation time. And not only does that make it quicker, but it also means the lorries don't have a chance to see them coming and run away and don't get a ticket at all, even if they've been there for 3 hours. So something to discuss with parking with Neil and the team, I think.
Yes, thank you. That's very, very good. Councillor Adam Bamaj.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Taylor as well for bringing everyone up to date, particularly in the planning sphere. So yeah, I should say I also wear the hat of lead member for planning, as well as being a ward member in Maidenhead. I think pretty much what Helen said is pretty much brings you to the full picture. Just to add maybe a slight more detail to a couple of points. You're quite right to raise the your point 8. I concur with your assessment that the fact that the odour assessment work was only ever focused on the sewage works is a failure of to really recognise what impacts on people's amenity in the area might be, and the fact that you've got that you've got the civic and waste transfer site right next to you as well. The fact that was overlooked, I don't quite understand how we got to that point. But the fact is that as far as the planning part of this, as far as what planning can do in terms of intervening here, it's limited to what that condition said, and to make an assessment of whether that condition's been complied with. So the first part of the condition was getting the agreement of the plan, and as Helen said, that was signed off at the end of 2016, so almost 9 years ago now. Part of that plan essentially pointed to the conclusions in the Waterman, the odour assessor consultants report, and they highlighted there were particular blocks within the development that should have these carbon filter and ventilation systems, so that the airflow into those particular buildings did pass through the active carbon filters. I do reckon it's quite hard to actually identify exactly which blocks it is. I can see because they were using the sort of developer terminology before, obviously the things were built out and given proper names. They refer to block H, which from what I could see from the plans is Orchid House, where I can see your residence or yourself, and then there's some blocks with numbers which I think are sort of rows of houses, but I can't quite work out which ones they are from the unfortunately from the plans. So what I'd say is that we now have an open enforcement case to check whether the second part of that condition, the actual putting in those filters has taken place, and whether, if it has taken place, whether those are still operational, whether they have somehow failed, because the condition talks about making sure that they are maintained and in good working order. So we will be sending officers in to investigate that. We gave the developer a reasonable time to voluntarily to comply. As Helen mentioned, they did have these sort of structural issues of bringing 2 officers together, so they were struggling to find the actual paperwork to work out whether what hadn't been installed. So officers have taken a view now that we've given them a reasonable time to comply voluntarily, and now we need to open it as a formal investigation. That I don't think Ridgeway would be surprised by that. They knew that was coming if they didn't get the information to us. So there will now be formal inquiries, and we have particular statutory powers under planning to request certain pieces of information, which they will have deadlines, normally quite tight ones, like 28 days to give the information, so and to prove what's in there. I will watch this space in terms of that point. You do make obviously an important point though, that of course that will only help indoor air if it is working or if it can be brought into working order, if it's not actually currently there, and you still have an amenity issue outside, which unfortunately the condition can't, the condition can't help in terms of planning control. But of course that's then moves within the area which my colleague Richard Coe is involved in, which is the environmental health aspect of it. So I'm grateful for the very detailed report that you've put together about the different issues and the investigations and the potential deficiencies that may have occurred during those investigations. I guess another part of my hat as well as planning is the governance side of things. So I obviously will be keen to support Richard in the inquiries, and if there's questions of sort of whether the correct legal standards are being applied, and that if there's any uncertainty, we've got people within our legal department who can work with the environmental health officers to make sure that that they're following the right they're following the right rules and applying the right standards when defining the statutory nuisances. So can't make any promises this evening, other than the fact that having an open planning enforcement investigation, I think, is a positive step to at least getting or ensuring what was promised in that planning condition is actually installed and complied with. So I'm hopeful that we'll get at least a resolution to that particular point.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Beaumont. Councillor Beaumont, lead member for planning for the Royal Borough. Councillor Baskerville.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I'm a Maidonian myself, and I used to play sport on the neighbouring field down to that site, when that site was the filter beds for the sewage works. And I must admit, I mean, when we played sport there, whether it be cricket in the summer or football in the winter, there was always an odour smell going back, 40, 50 years. And I mean, the only thing that's changed, I think, in that time is that they've changed the name from a rubbish tip to civic amenity site. I don't know if changing the name actually eliminates the smell, I don't know, but that's probably the hope. But I think I must admit, I raised a quizzical eyebrow when I saw they gave permission to build the Loftings there, knowing what that site was historically. And, there's still rotting vegetation down there every day. I mean, I take clippings and all that from, especially during the summer, from grass and fallen leaves and everything down there on a regular basis. And so does everybody else. And I just don't know what people are thinking, putting properties there. I mean, it's still a rubbish tip as far as I'm concerned. It might not be, the filter beds might have gone because the flats are there on the site. But normally what happens is that they neutralise the ground. I mean, that's what happened in Reading, for instance, where I also lived for a while. They built a football stadium there, but they spent £10 million 30 years ago on neutralising the ground. And also putting like funnels up to get rid of the methane, which emanates from the former rubbish tip. I don't know what the situation is down at that area, but I can't honestly believe that the amount of stuff that's been going on there for the last 50, 70 years or more has been neutralised sufficiently because of this recurring problem. I mean, the problem's been there for more than 10 years. It's been smells down there for donkey's years. And I don't know what was going on with the permission when these places were built, but there must have been some sort of, I hope, rehabilitation work going on beforehand. Otherwise, it's going to be a recurring problem. I can't see things improving on that score unless that's actually happened in the past. Regarding the lorries and that, I mean, I understand it's still the public weighbridge is that on that road, isn't it? Is that right? Weighbridge. Don't they weigh vehicles down there? They certainly used to.
Not public anymore.
No, but aren't the vehicles weighed when they've come back?
Oh, sorry, yeah, so you are right, they are weighed, sorry, my apologies.
But that's why they're waiting.
It's
They're
just
waiting.
inside the site, yeah,
They're
yeah.
waiting for their site to be free so they can go in.
That's right,
I mean, they shouldn't be part of there. They're just waiting for the space so they can go in and be weighed. That's as I understand.
Yeah.
Because I quite often drive there and there's usually two or three vehicles waiting to go into that site. You have to judge what's coming the other way, otherwise you can meet in the middle.
That's it.
But it was a very strange place to put a site like that, as far as I'm concerned. And I was surprised to see it go up without the remedial. Well, I assume the remedial work must have been done. Otherwise, it was not really the place to put it, as far as I can see. But I wasn't a councillor then, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, that was a previous administration. I mean, these guys got enough problems already. We don't want to end up making them unmortgageable properties now, do we? The thing is, look, at the end of the day, those houses, when they were built, they would have been pre-commencement conditions before they were built. That site would have been scraped, decontaminated, it would have been cleaned, and then it would have been built up. You got a problem, the smell's a problem, the houses they're good quality, well-built properties. The reason why they were built there, we got an acute housing shortage, 12.5 times the average earning. There's massive problems with housing. Site-wise, it's a good site, you're a good location. Like I say, you're right next to the railway station. You've got a brand new car park next to you, so you've got no parking issues. So it's all right. We get the smell sorted, you'll be all right. Yes, madam. Yes, yeah, sure. Go on, take them at night. Yeah. Thank you, Dragos. Thank you for your thing. Cheers. Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Yes. Hi.
Thanks for all the really good kind of commenting. So I also live in Orchid House, and I moved in about 4 years ago as a first resident. Actually moved into the actual new build.
Brilliant.
So I probably experienced way more than like Dragos here. The situation, I think, in addition to all the planning issue that we've been talking about, I want to ask a question on how does the council monitor the performance of the contractor? Because what really concerns me is like the contractor doesn't really control, or like they have a code of conduct of how the drivers should be like and how the trucks can be parked like. Because a lot of the times the truck actually park overnight outside, and then on a hot day, they would just like leave it overnight, like 2 or 3 trucks. And it really smells very badly. And whenever we complain to council, I've written a couple of emails as well. And I've also made maybe not as detailed of a record of the smell issue, but it always comes back to us saying, oh, it's compliant with the permit, but none of them tell us what actually the performance of the contractor is like, which I'm not quite sure. How does the council assess the performance every year, or how long does the current contract run out?
Okay, good question. I'll let Councillor Coe, I think, wants to come back on that question.
I mean, to answer your question, I'm not sure that the performance indicators on the contract would have been designed to address your problems, if that makes sense. They've been more designed around, getting the bins moved and waste taken away. But I wonder if you can tell me that the lorries that are weighted, obviously the lorries come in from all over the borough to the transfer station and deposit there, and then it goes on to different lorries to go to the plants that dispose of the waste. So we have food waste, garden waste, dried mix recycling, and what's called residual waste. And those are then hauled away by a different company. The lorries that you've got waiting outside your flats overnight, are they loaded or unloaded? Yeah.
Yeah.
They are unloaded because most of the times they're parked overnight, waiting for the depot to open in the morning.
So they're unloaded, but they haven't been washed out, so they still smell. Yeah, okay, thank you, that's useful to know. So those will be the lorries that are taking the waste from the transfer site to the processors, rather than the ones bringing them from the community to the transfer. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, councillor Coe. Councillor Bermange, did you want to come on? No?
Yeah, I will. I was going to probably say something that you'd already touched upon, which is, the fact that, we're key when it comes to finding places to, where we can address our acute housing shortage. We're keen to find, brownfield sites and sites that aren't in the green belt and town centre, well located sites. And I think it's important that we find those sites. But it's clear that I think we need to look at policies, and we're starting to develop a new local plan now. And I think it's important we understand that we're within the policies, we're ensuring that the amenity of people and future residents that are going to live in those sites is protected sufficiently, because it sounds like that could maybe at a point in time, the desktop studies all said that this would be acceptable, but the lived experience of the residents now is that clearly it's not. So I'm very keen to make sure that as we develop that new plan, and as we want to ensure that we make the most of brownfield sites, that often that those brownfield sites will have constraints and be within sort of challenging areas, such as near potential pollution areas and things like that. And we don't want to have to exclude those sites from consideration. I think that would be wrong, but we need to make sure that our policies are strong enough to make sure that future residents are protected. If that makes sense.
Yeah, very good response. Yes, madam.
Sorry, I just want to building on that. So if it's about policy, so does the council have a waste management plan, like a 5-year plan? Because obviously we are new builds, but in the past 3 years, tons of new build pop up in Maidenhead. There are blocks outside opposite the Waitrose. There are blocks at the kind of leisure centre, and then there are the 3 kind of new blocks within the town centre. So they all are more than 100 households each, and then they all add to the waste. And there's limited facilities that has been so old here, and it's a fixed capacity. So what's the council's actually kind of future plan in 5-10 years time if you're still building new houses and you only have a limited capacity? What's the plan in the future?
I could say a part of that and then pass over to Richard as well. Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the planning, yes, you're right. The whole idea of the planning system is to ensure that as you plan for the future, you're also making sure you have the right infrastructure in place for future. Often we think of infrastructure and people naturally just think about roads and that alone. Maybe they might expand out and think about things like health facilities as well. But you're quite right. As populations grow, that whilst we will continue to work to encourage lower production of at least the residual wastes, ultimately we know as populations grow, there's going to be more waste produced, and we have to be able to handle that. That part of that infrastructure is built into the long-term planning through both the local plan and a sort of an associated plan, which is called the waste, the minerals and waste plan, which sits alongside it and looking for suitable sites for the future. I think it's absolutely right. It's really important that those they come forward at the right time and ahead of time, so that we're not dealing with potentially, and I don't know, I haven't got the evidence in front of me to say this is definitely the case, but the kind of suggestion here is that maybe this site now is and potentially handling more waste than it or is getting towards the sort of near its capacity. But that's what I'm hearing. But I will pass over to my colleague who is more of an expert in that.
Yeah,
particular area.
so I mean, obviously, we don't, well, in Windsor and Maidenhead, we don't deal with any commercial waste. So some councils do, but we don't. So that's a matter which is dealt with by private waste haulers. We only deal with household waste. And really, because we don't actually process any waste on site, there isn't an immediate capacity issue with the transfer station. It's really a matter of the waste goes in and comes out again quite quickly.
You will have more traffic increase because you have more new builds. And then you will need to increase the traffic load along Vickers Way to keep that the waste doesn't store in it for it to act as a transfer site. So when you said the transfer capacity has not reached, does that mean you have to actually increase the lorry kind of traffic load? Which actually might contribute to our issue then.
Yeah, I don't know the details of that. Obviously, there is more housing happening. There will be more lorry loads, but whether that's significant or I'm afraid I don't know that detail. I'd have to come back to you. I think at the moment it's still within, the marginal, shall we say, rather than significant.
Okay, Vice Chairman Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. Would the panel be willing to agree for a scoping document to be done for Place ONS to try and figure out how we can improve things and how we can feed into the new plan that's being formed, just to prevent this from happening again? Because it's obvious that this was overlooked 9 years ago or over 10 years ago when the planning application was put in. And I really don't want that to happen again because, here we are 10 years later and we're only just trying to figure out what's gone on. So it would be useful to feed into the plan and to feed into policies at this early stage so that this doesn't happen again. Is that something the panel would agree to?
Councillor Baskerville.
A blow-by-blow account of the run-up to the permission being given about exactly what happened and what was put in place. What was the ground properly neutralised after the filter beds went? Did all the things that should have happened happen? And we need to have that itemised so we can see what happened and so we can see if there was errors happening which shouldn't have happened. Because at the moment we're talking to some extent in a vacuum, aren't we? We're here trying to rationalise what happened nine or 10 years ago, and that's not always easy if you haven't got all the facts in front of you.
No, I agree. Councillor Coe?
Yeah, I just wanted to second Councillor Taylor's suggestion.
Yeah.
I think we should.
I just want to. Yeah, we haven't got a legal officer. Councillor Coe is actually lead member. This is a scrutiny item. Is Councillor Coe within his remit, or do we have to have him abstain on this point? And maybe have Councillor Shaw?
When it comes to doing the servant document, we'll have to see the 5 councils that sign it.
It's sign it, okay.
That would happen outside the beginning.
Okay, so we get Councillor Baskerville or Councillor Shaw, yeah, so that's fine. So we are in agreement. What it is, it's just technical because you've got lead member councillors as a scrutiny panel, the scrutiny committee also almost like sits above the cabinet. So as a scrutiny panel, it holds the cabinet to account and officers. So cabinet members can't be sat on the scrutiny panel. So it's a bit of a technical constitutional thing, but we've got almost unanimous support for this. So we'll bring this on to a scrutiny panel. And then obviously on that panel, we'll be facing the cabinet members, but also officers. But we can also pull in other people as well. So once Councillor Taylor has a look, if you want to do, Councillor Taylor will do the scoping document, and then we'll see who we pull in. We have extensive powers within the scrutiny process, so we can bring in Serco if we want, we can bring in Red Rove, even though it's a, multi-million pound housing developer, we can bring them in and hold their feet to the fire. We've done it before. It's not a problem for us. We'll make sure these properties are looked at carefully and these issues are looked at, and what we can do to help, we will, we will be able to help. And even if we can't get this odor issue outside resolved, we may be able to do some work with your neighbour, Serco, and look at having the plant run more efficiently. Yes, Dragos, take the stand.
Just one thing, well, I mentioned briefly in my speech earlier, is the fact that on a daily basis from roughly 5 a.m. in the morning, during the entire day when the plant is open, we get Serco trucks leaving the plant, coming back full, and then leaving again. I would recommend that the panel checks the speed logs. They are extremely noisy and the drivers don't care. These are really high tonnage trucks. If a kid runs on that street, they won't be able to brake in time. This keeps happening on a daily basis. I'm not saying all Serco drivers are behaving this way, but it's absolutely impossible to walk on that path of the road without having to look all over the place, just because you have to make sure there is no speeding driver. It's absolutely, and not taking into account the sound as well. When the engines are revving past in front of our building from 5 a.m. until 3 p.m. on Monday to Friday every day, trust me, that's not that's ideal. So I would like, if the panel here could raise this with Serco, that would be great, because this is getting out of hand.
We will do. Look, we see you, we hear you. We'll get Serco to comment. Obviously, Serco's not in the room, so we can't give him a right to reply on these allegations. But Mikey can see if he can get a note out to Serco and see if we can just get some input from them as an action point. Meanwhile, we'll look at going away. We'll do the scoping document, bringing this back to scrutiny. And also, I know Councillor Bermage wants to say something. Councillor Bermage, let's hit you first, go.
Thank you. I just wanted to, maybe seek some clarity. I support the idea of, taking this further, and ONS is and place ONS in particular seems to be the right place to. I didn't mean to say that, but it's the right panel to be investigating this, and they have more powers, of course, than the forum to really as you were alluding to there. But I mean, I think Helen, you talked about the sort of looking at a broader the broader issue, which I totally support that idea. But at the same time, I feel that the residents have come this evening, and they've even got a section about specifically talking about how the sort of things that ONS could do to intervene, specifically on to hopefully help their specific situation now. So I'm just thinking about what that scoping document has in it, and whether there will it would be able to also look at some of the more specific site issues that they've raised, even if it's as maybe like as almost like a case study. This is something where we're saying things have not gone right. We can look at the actual specific issues of different departments, whether they are following things properly, and look at issues about our contractor and the contract management arrangements that are in place, and whether they are sufficient to ensure the correct sort of the correct operation of that site. I think that I mean potentially I guess the issue is a scoping document can all of a sudden have quite a large quite a big scope, and you've got to sort of nail down exactly what it is you want to put in there. But I'd be concerned if it wasn't looking at all at some of the specific issues that the residents have raised, and only took the broader view. I think the broader view and lessons learned kind of stuff is important, definitely. But there's the sort of here and now issues that could be dealt with through ONS. I think it's important too. I also didn't have a chance earlier to actually praise Helen for, fighting this one. And she's been, advocating, strongly for residents, making sure, making sure the people in the council, both cabinet members and officers are being held accountable and are investigating things properly. So, it's all credit, a significant credits to Helen for doing that and for getting, I'm pleased that she had those, sort of kind comments for the planning officers that she's been working with. I'm sure that, they'll appreciate that, but ultimately, it's only because raising the issue and making sure that it's not ignored, that things are moving forward. So I think it's worth putting on the record as well.
Yeah, definitely second all of that, everything that's been said. Yeah, well done, Vice Chair Taylor. She's done a great job. Okay, guys, look, I think that's about as much as we can do this evening. We've given it as much as we can do. We're going to work in the background. You guys do work. Keep the action logs going. Just make sure you monitor on site. Also get involved with borough consultations that are coming. There's a Maidenhead neighbourhood plan that's going to be put in place. That's out consultation. Just get involved in as much as possible. Things are changing, and sort of it's a moving feet. There's been talks about moving that amenity site, out the way and all the rest of it, and that's all been going on for years. But look, whatever we can do to help, we'll help. And we'll make it a lovely place to live. You've got a great park next to you and great amenity, great town centre. So thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thanks for attending. Yes, okay. So we just move on to the next agenda item. So this is number 9. It's open discussion and item suggestion for future forum meetings. So it just gives people an opportunity to suggest anything for future forums. Unless you guys got any suggestions, any meetings, anything for future forum items, we're just sort of opening the floor. What would you like to see discussed here at this sort of forum, other than the Loftings? Can't be the Loftings. That's on there. Don't worry. That's already there. Councillor Douglas.
Well, mine is about Loftings, actually. I just wonder if it might be handy, there's like a case study to when the enforcement action, when the planning team have worked through that process, it might be handy to have them back just for our benefit, so we can get a post-mortem. We learn what actually happened, what the result was.
Yeah. Feedback, yeah. Mikey, thank you. That's been noted. As soon as it gets noted, bang, it's action straight away. There's just, they don't mess around there. Right, thank you very much. Councillor Taylor.
Not a suggestion, but a shameless plug. Talking of Christmas, Light Up Oldfield 2025 is launching on Monday for my residents. So more details will be forthcoming. I know the Loftings are chomping at the bits to do a community light display. We've got an independent judge this year, and we've had some good prizes donated and given to us for the residents. So I will be announcing on social media on Monday. Keep your eyes peeled.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Councillor Douglas, you got your hand up?
Number 2.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.
My second suggestion, this is a town forum thing. So we've got a wonderful communities team, and you probably all know about the lottery, the community lottery that we run, and some money being generated by that, which is ring fenced for community spend. And I wonder if it would be nice to have maybe Samaya, one of the community's officers, to come and tell us a bit about that. She's willing to do so.
Oh, yes.
Is that something we can ask her
Yes.
about and suggest?
That's a good idea. Yep. That's a good idea.
It is possible that money may be allocated on a ward by ward basis, but that's just one of the options.
That would be very good. Yeah. I mean, I remember, years ago, we used to have an allocated budget for each of the councillors. And I remember I managed to get this, the graffiti wall done on the corner of Queen Street, which was really, really good. A couple of deers. No, it's going up. It wasn't a Banksy. Just as good as. Yes.
I was just going to note, Chair, obviously, so we've got, I was looking at the action log, obviously, so we noted that at the beginning of the meeting, but one action that we're looking to have for the January meeting is inviting Chris Joyce to discuss the remainder of the precept funding and the unparished areas and the SIL funding. So obviously that was due to potentially come to this one. However, with the budget upcoming and it hasn't obviously gone through cabinet yet, that wasn't a discussion we could have right now. So obviously Chris has said once the budget's obviously gone through cabinet later in the next month or so. That's something he'd be looking forward to come to a January meeting to discuss, as like I say, a future item.
Very good. Chris Joyce, let's have him on the menu. Thank you. Anything else? That's it? All right. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for attending. Cheers. Oh, last one, sorry. One last item, number 10 is on the next page. It's date of next meeting, 15th of January 2026. See you in the new year.